Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and episode 5 of Mum and I's Studio Ghibli review series. But as you can see, Mum isn't here right now. She's a bit sick at the minute with a cold, so it's just me today reviewing. Today's film is called Porco Rosso, and it was released in 1992. And some of the details: it is an animated comedy adventure film written and directed again by Hayao Miyazaki. It is based on The Age of the Flying Boat, which is a 3-part watercolor manga by Miyazaki. A human turned into a pig who was a soldier but now is a bounty hunter, and that's kind of the main setup of it. So yeah, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, produced by Toshio Suzuki, screenplay by Miyazaki, music by Joe Hisaishi, hopefully that's right, cinematography by Atsushi Uki, that's probably very wrong, edited by Takeshi Sayama. Yeah, the release date was July 18th, 1992. It has a running time of 94 minutes. It had a budget of $9.2 million and its box office return was $59 million. So, me and Mum actually just watched this a few hours ago from when I'm recording this. The main character, I think this one, Porco Rosso, the main character in the film, it's called, he was probably the weakest main character, or the least interesting of the ones we've watched so far, and that's probably the main reason why I didn't just as enjoy this one as much. And then some of the other main characters we have Fio Piccolo, who is, I think, the granddaughter of Grandpa Piccolo, who runs his own construction place. He was actually probably the best character. I think he was pretty funny. And then we also have Gina, who is like a love interest for Porco, and then Donald Curtis, an American pilot. Some thoughts: it was more of a comedy film than the rest of the other films. I thought it was quite funny in parts, especially Granda Piccolo. And yeah, the film kind of explores the whole idea, even nowadays, or more so back then, females were looked down upon. The film explores men being sexist and playing down girls' achievements or ladies' achievements. Basically, the film explores a lot of scenes where the men don't trust the women's abilities, because there's a part in the story where something needs built. A whole crew of women come in, and Porco's kind of in disbelief. He doesn't want the work to start because he's thinking that the woman won't be very good at it. So the whole thing about him being a pig is kind of twofold. He was transformed into a pig, and also kind of that stereotype of middle-aged men being pigs. That's a direct kind of quote from the film. Someone says that all middle-aged men are pigs. It's kind of ironic in that, and that joke's played with him quite a bit throughout the film. There's one highlight of the film, probably one scene that was really good. It's sort of towards the last 20 minutes of the film, which I really like. So it's kind of a very ambiguous scene almost. This film is probably one of the more grounded, realistic Studio Ghibli films we've watched so far. But that scene I mentioned is probably one of the more ambiguous parts. But I thought that was a highlight of the film. And it kind of flip-flops between comedy and seriousness a bit too much. Kind of hard to nail down the exact tone it was going for. The story, I felt, just wasn't as fully fleshed out or as engaging as the other ones. The characters didn't really have any backstory explored. That was kind of the thoughts I had jotted down. I will go on to scores. So characters, I would give it an 8 out of 10. I thought Grandpa Piccolo was probably the highlight. I thought he was really funny. He probably had the funniest scenes or lines in the film. So story, 6 out of 10. I just wasn't as engaged in it, and I think it flip-flopped between comedy and seriousness a bit too much. And then music, 6. There just wasn't that much music in this one compared to the other ones. So, and her scores were, she gave the characters 8 out of 10, story a 7, and music a 7. My rankings coming into this one was number 5, Castle in the Sky, number 4, Kiki's Delivery Service, number 3, Only Yesterday, number 2, Spirited Away, and number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. Mum's old rankings coming into this were number 5, Spirited Away, 4, Castle in the Sky, 3, Only Yesterday, number 2, Kiki's Delivery Service, and number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. So her new rankings are number 6, Spirited Away, number 5, Castle in the Sky, number 4, Porco Rosso, number 3, Only Yesterday, number 2, Kiki's Delivery Service, and then number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. So my new rankings, I have Porco Rosso at the bottom. I think it's probably the weakest and the least entertaining of the ones we've watched so far. So that's why I have it at the bottom. 5, Castle in the Sky. 4, Kiki's Delivery Service. Number 3, Only Yesterday. Number 2, Spirited Away. And then number 1, My Neighbor Totoro. Next episode, which will be episode 6, I believe, hopefully. That film we will be watching and reviewing is called Ocean Waves, which came out in 1993. Yes, so that's been episode 5. That is our new rankings of the Studio Ghibli films. Hope you've enjoyed this episode, and hopefully in the next one Mom will be in attendance, so hopefully see you then, and subscribe and hit the bell and like and hit all those buttons, please. See ya.